Hello, my friends. I started this reading yesterday, but I got interrupted. Normally, when a reading is interrupted, I just ditch it and put all the cards away and start over again whenever I have the opportunity to. So, this time, I am pretty fascinated by who you are. So I decided to keep all the cards out and see if I could pick this up today. Let's see how it works out. As I said, I am pretty fascinated by you, if you are the person or group of people, collective, that this reading is intended for. If you are represented by the bear and the phoenix. Both of these cards will apply to you. Okay, so who you are, if this reading is intended for you. Bear, waking from spiritual slumber, beginning anew. After a long winter, the bear arises from deep slumber. At first, the movement and effort are difficult, but the bear knows it's time to awaken and move toward the dawning light. The bear card represents an individual on the cusp of new directions and personal transformation. The initial weeks and months of this spiritual quest may feel tricky, cumbersome, and full of obstacles. It's not going to be easy. If you think that spiritual awakening is an easy process, it's not. It's not easy. It's not simple. It's very, very rewarding. This is all my take on it. It is worth the effort. But if you think that it's going to be easy, it's not. It's going to be there are going to be major changes to your life. Okay, back to the book. But you have no choice, bear. Winter wanes, the warmth of spring emerges, and your transformation begins. I know there are people, this is from me, who do not want to awaken and will fight it tooth and nail. That is, I guess it's possible. You can turn your back on it. I don't think you'll get good results from doing that, but it is something that you can do. I don't recommend it at all. I fought off not the initial awakening, but progressing on my path for many years, and I had a good reason for doing so. But looking back, I suspect that things would have worked out better if I had allowed it to happen or to continue. And I think allowing and accepting are two very important words to keep in mind. So based on my personal experience, you can at least bring it to a halt for a while, maybe even many years. But it will be difficult and painful, and you will be unhappy. So, fighting off a spiritual awakening is not the path of happiness. Something to keep in mind. And whatever issues you may be dealing with in your life, which are why I chose to fight it off for so many years, not the initial awakening, but continuing on it. It could very well be that they would benefit from you continuing on your path, or maybe not. There's no way to know for sure. You will have to make that decision for yourself. Anyway, to get back to the Animal Spirit Guidebook, when in balance, the bear has inner strength and is yearning to grow. When out of balance, withdrawal, lethargy, heaviness. I would also say depression, anger, lots of unhappiness. To bring into balance, movement and exercise. I recommend sunshine as well. Maybe even moonlight. Okay. Now, these two cards came out together. So here we have the Phoenix, which Kim Krans, the creator of this deck, put in the Spirit category. It is the first card in the Spirit category. Phoenix, freedom from suffering and past karma, reincarnation. The Phoenix represents the transformation of our past. It doesn't mean running from it, denying it, or burning bridges with rage. The Phoenix employs an advanced technique described in yoga as the burning of impurities through practice and dedication. Tapas. The essence of the Phoenix is with us when we realize we have been suffering too long and something must change. We take a stand and decide to live consciously instead of being driven by the unconscious mind and its long list of fears and aversions. At that very moment, the spark of the Phoenix is lit, and the great bird helps us burn through our baggage. We no longer run from who we are, what has happened to us, or what we have done. The stuckness and dead weight fall into the ashes, and a lightness and clarity emerge. As the stagnancy continues to smolder, the Phoenix lifts our spirits up, and we begin to recognize ourselves again. We may catch a glimmer in our eye that wasn't there before. Look closely. It's a sign the fire of transformation is upon your wings. The Phoenix and the first chakra. The ancient yogis believed that our heaviest karma resides in the first chakra. This earthen center is also called Muladhara, or our root. The ascent of the Phoenix begins here, and as the entanglement of karmas is slowly burned, it rises from the ash toward the navel center. Again and again, it makes this journey from first to third chakra, purifying our essence, freeing us from the past. So you should expect to revisit things over and over again. But every time you revisit them, it'll be a little different. Hopefully they'll be a little lighter. But maybe not. And regardless, each time you revisit them, a new lesson is learned, a new bit of karma is burned away. There's a change, is what I'm trying to say. All right. Now you see why I really, really wanted to do this reading. At least I hope you do. So the question behind this reading, for you, Bear and Phoenix person, is what subconscious fear is affecting your behavior or actions right now? If you're interested, the card number is 48. And I used the Tarot of the Orishas to do your first draw. I find this deck to be a little hard-hitting. Anyway, we have the Six of Cups, we have the Ten of Cups, and the Ten of Air. So, Six of Cups, or water, is about remembering. It's about nostalgia. It could be about processing old issues, like childhood issues. Could be inner child work or shadow work of some sort. And it could also refer to past life things, such as karma. And then we have the Ten of Cups. The Ten of Cups is typically a card of an ideal family life. So it's emotionally very happy. It's a very healthy situation, very healthy relationships. And so there's a lot of happiness and joy and an abundance of the good things in life. And it's not necessarily as financially well off as the Ten of Pentacles, but it's so happy, why would you care? Unfortunately, though, we have the Ten of Air underneath this. This would be the Ten of Swords, which is about a very painful ending. And as you can see here, we have 10 apparently dead birds. So, I wanted to do clarification for each of these cards. And I started with the Six of Cups. This is a little tricky because I have to keep the mermaid covered because, of course, she's a topless mermaid. It's interesting that we have two cups and one sword card. Until now. We have the King of Swords here. This is the King of Swords in reverse. So, authoritarian. Somebody who is harsh, possibly cruel. They are very much expecting to be in charge at all times, and they are intolerant. They're not interested in your opinions. It's their way or the highway. And I don't know if this is representing who you have been. Or someone who has been a major influence in your life. Maybe you had a very controlling parent, for example. I don't typically go with gender in tarot, so I'm not planning on starting now. But anyway, then we have the Tower. This Tower is in reverse, so I typically take that to mean that the action in this tower is happening internally. So this is an internal tower, not an external tower. That's consistent with the early stages of a spiritual awakening. The transformation begins internally, and it can go on internally for quite some time before it becomes external. So, Bear, Phoenix person, it appears you are still in the beginning stages. Then we have the Four of Swords. It's especially appropriate, I think, that we have someone meditating. At least that's what it looks like. So you may recall the Phoenix was talking about the karma rising from your root chakra up to your navel chakra and going back and forth and getting burned. Because the root chakra is associated with fire. Okay. Then we have the Two of Wands also in reverse, next to the Four of Wands. That's very interesting because the Four of Wands in the upright is about long-term relationships. It can be a celebration of a wedding, for example, or it can be some other kind of family or long-term friend celebration. This is a card of community for me. So this is your support group, your community, your network. And if it is referring to a wedding, well, we also have the Two of Wands. So the Two of Wands is representing planning, having a goal, and making plans about how to work towards it. In reverse, though, it can be analysis paralysis. This particular card is also suggesting a lack of a plan. So that is pretty typical of a reverse tarot card. It's either a worsening of what is represented by the card or the opposite of what is represented by the card. So, Two of Wands being planning, we have either planning that's ground to a halt, so you're stuck and stagnant. A couple of sticks in the mud would be a good representation for the Two of Wands in reverse. Or you don't even have a plan. There's no thought at all. You're just acting on impulse. No strategy. This is definitely not King of Swords behavior. So the fact that we have this perhaps impulsivity and an internal tower. See, these two are very, very different from these two. So we have this internal tower, the internal transformation, lots of thought, reflection, working through things, and the Six of Cups itself, childhood issues. And then the Four of Wands. So what does your family and community have to do with this? How are they helping or hurting you, hindering your ability to plan and move through this transformative process? Are you giving everyone the appearance of the King of Swords? Someone who has it all together, is on top of everything? Because this is a King of Swords in reverse. So this is not coming from a place of genuine clarity and security. This is someone putting on a show of being the boss. But they don't have the strength to back it up. They just have a lot of controlling behavior and anger. Well, perhaps that's what's going on with you. At least that's what this card is referring to. It could also be this, I mean, like I said, this could definitely be a parent. Especially since it's on top of the Six of Cups. So suggesting this is someone from your past, your formative years. Definitely a parent kind of situation. All right, let's move this off to the side. You may have a very strong family, but they seem to be paralyzing you, not supporting you. Okay, so possibly enmeshment issues. Oh, I'm all off. Okay. Next we have Ten of Water. Yes, the ideal family situation I spoke about, which you clearly do not have, or have not had. But it may be something you are working towards or would want to work towards. For some people, this also represents past life connections. Let's see where we go. Clarification on the Ten of Water and the subconscious fears affecting the viewer. All right, so we have Nine of Cups in reverse, the Sun in reverse, and Eight of Wands. The Sun in reverse is not a negative card. It's one of those cards that's just too positive to have a truly negative meaning, but in reverse it's a lesser happiness. Oh, this is interesting. So as a crossing influence, we have the Ten of Cups again. Okay. And now we have the King of Pentacles. I'm not sure whether the Devil was supposed to come out or not. All right, let's take a look at this. So there is a desire for the Ten of Cups, a very strong desire. We have the Ten of Cups and the Ten of Cups. But you have the Ten of Cups crossing. Very odd. Okay. Nine of Cups. The Sun, Eight of Wands. That's rapid movement, rapid news, incoming. This is all about your desires, I think. But we have Nine of Cups in reverse, and we did have the Devil showing itself. So I'm going to have to go with problems with addictions. So the devil is, for me, about bad habits, vices, addictions, also illusions and delusions, lies we tell ourselves. And you have the Nine of Cups in reverse, so I'm definitely going with a sort of lesser devil. Their addictions are an issue. The Sun being in reverse, it's a kind of false happiness. If you aren't happy when you're sober, you're not happy. If you think that the fact that you're happy when you're under the influence of whatever means that you're happy, it doesn't mean that at all. Just the opposite. So given that it's next to the Nine of Cups in reverse, I'm going to have to go with that. There's also a thing called mania in Chinese medicine, which is, it looks like an excessive amount of joy, but of course it's not true or genuine joy. And you really can't get to the King of Pentacles through this kind of thing. But perhaps you're about to undergo rapid change in regard to that. Perhaps you understand that if you want to become this King of Pentacles, you want to have this Ten of Cups, you are going to have to make some changes. You are going to have to give up the false joy and the addictions and bad habits and vices that bring about this false joy. All right, I think that's enough of that card. Time to clarify the Ten of Air, Ten of Swords. Okay. These mini decks are very handy. This one's not truly mini, but close enough. Yeah. You got the Devil, you got the Five of Swords, and the Three of Wands. The other's got 4 or 5. How about the Ten of Air, Ten of Swords for my Bear Phoenix person. Another king. This is interesting. Very, very interesting. The fact that you've gotten 3 kings, and they've been the last card for each clarifying spread. You've gotten a king. Over here, you've had the King of Swords, the King of Pentacles, and now the King of Wands. You have not had the King of Hearts or Water. Okay. King of Wands is known. These are all sideways. They're all blocking. So we're going to talk about their reversed meanings, or negative or less positive meanings. King of Wands. This is someone who's selfish. They want what they want. They don't want to be tied down. They want to be free to go, free to do what they want to do. They can't be bothered with rules. Very different from the King of Swords. And they don't want to have to worry about things like financial prosperity and paying the bills, like the King of Pentacles, who is definitely a provider. You had the King of Pentacles in the upright, so this would be someone who is stable, who's financially stable, who's disciplined, who's generous, a good provider. And here we have the King of Wands. But this is not an upright King of Wands. This is a blocking King of Wands. So, strong urges to just indulge in whatever you want to indulge in, without regard to consequences or ramifications, how it affects other people, collateral damage. This King of Wands does not feel that they should be encumbered by consideration for anyone else. All right. And underneath it, we have the Devil. We have the Five of Swords and the Three of Wands. The Three of Wands is an interesting card. You know, we're talking about the Ten of Air, Ten of Swords. But you have the Three of Wands. The Three of Wands is looking out, taking another look at the greater picture, the bigger picture, seeing other possibilities for expansion and change. They're not doing anything yet, but the possibility of growth, expansion, creativity, it's all there. You're beginning to perceive it. And yet you're coming from a place of the Five of Swords, self-sabotage, feeling despair and disgrace, ashamed. So underneath your King of Wands exterior, you know you've been doing things wrong. You've been making bad choices. You've been hurting other people and yourself. So from my personal perspective, you don't want to be standing near someone who's self-destructive, because you are likely to end up as collateral damage. And the King of Wands in reverse is definitely self-destructive. May not be willing to admit it, but they are. Now then, the Devil is here. So, the Devil, of course, as I've already mentioned, bad habits, vices, addictions, lies we tell ourselves, delusions and illusions. But you have it as a blocking force here. Although it's interesting, it's in the opposite orientation to the Five of Swords. So that's a little interesting. It's pretty clear how the Devil is a block. And it's also clear how it would contribute to a Ten of Swords, the end of a lot of things. Because someone who is going down the Devil's path is sooner or later going to destroy their lives. The people who love them will have to kick them out or let them destroy them too. But we do have some small hopes here, because there is this beginning of awareness, because you are a Bear Phoenix person. There is an understanding that things have to change. When that change is possible, that there is more out there. So, the Devil in reverse is that beginning of change. Beginning to break free of the chains that you have chosen to wrap around yourself. So you may be beginning to look at your addictions, your bad habits, your vices, and the lies you are telling yourself. And you're beginning to see that it's possible to live differently. And to understand that the Five of Swords, the self-sabotage can end. You don't have to live your life this way. So, the thing is, it's going to be scary, especially at first, because anything healthy is going to feel unfamiliar to you. It's going to be strange. It's going to be uncomfortable. You will wonder, if this feels so uncomfortable, am I really doing what's right for me? And chances are you are doing what's right. It's just so different than anything you've experienced before that that in itself is causing the discomfort. The sense of maybe disorientation, maybe confusion. But if you want things to be different, you have to make different choices. And right now, I think your biggest subconscious fear is of making those new choices. You've got a glimpse of what could be, but you don't know how to get there. It's not somewhere you've ever been before. It's unfamiliar land, unfamiliar territory. I did pull another deck for you. I pulled the, I think, Sacred Path cards. They seem to have good advice. So let's see what advice they have for you. New abilities. That typically happens with spiritual awakenings. You have a lot more awareness of yourself, of the world, that things are not what you thought they were. Any other advice for you? Why are your new abilities so important? What other advice? This is a vision quest. Seeking and finding. Well, I think you're going to have to seek within. That is how a vision quest works. It is kind of a hermit card. Usually when someone engages in a vision quest, they deny themselves food and water, and they make themselves very uncomfortable for several days until they have a vision. So they are not having their vision by indulging in any substances. They're having their vision by denying themselves comfort. Food, water, comfort. They're usually outside, so they may be cold. But it's definitely very, very uncomfortable. I'm not saying you have to go to that extreme. I certainly didn't. Although I did stop eating. But that was a side effect. It wasn't. The spiritual awakening started, and then I stopped eating. It wasn't the other way around. But yeah, it looks like you need to do some seeking within. Find your inner voice, your inner guide. And become a lot more aware of what's in there. You can't stay there forever. Just as a reminder, you're supposed to go in and then come back and share what you've learned so that others can benefit. You're supposed to become a guiding light, not hide your light. All right, this was your reading. I hope you got something out of it. And I am wishing you all the best of luck, Bear Phoenix person. It sounds like a very challenging time for you right now. It's not a bad time, just different and very different. Good luck.